1, 2, 3. Achoo! God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Gesundheit du. Achoo. Hey, what the hell? What a cool bunch of improvised lyrics that was. Sonic Weekly is the show. You found it. Welcome back. Grant here from Team Sonic Weekly, and one of the co-hosts is Bo. Hi, Bo.
Beat me up. Hey, you've been keeping up with your Duolingo. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. I know that Gesundheit is how you say bless you in Deutschland, which is what some people call Germany, and what we call a thing to edit out. Yes, that's right. And the star of the show, out of the shadows into the spotlight, it's David the Lurker. Hi, David.
Whoa, hi Grant, hi Bo. That's right. We love editing things out of the show. If what was edited out is gone, you'll never know what it was, but it was really spicy. You know, every time I hear the flute in the song, sometimes I pretend to play the flute, but I don't know how. My sister did. My sister was in band. She had a flute. She played it, presumably. That's a piece of information out there for people keeping track of my life story.
Yeah, we'll update the wikis.
This is a hot take. I've got no musical talent, no musical experience, but I got to say the flute looks pretty easy.
Yeah, you're just blowing and pressing buttons.
All right. Well, I think it has to involve how you blow, because I grabbed it a few times and tried to blow into it,
and the buttons.
I could never make it sound. She also had a piccolo, you know, which is just a tiny flute, essentially. I know it's more than that. All you woodwind instrumentators out there, don't come yelling at me. I apologize already.
Well, the guest with us this week, this week is one of my dear friends from Los Angeles. He's a raconteur of sorts, a writer, a producer, talent, and he's with us this week. Dave Schilling. Hi, Dave.
Talent is debatable, but thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate
you've been the talent. I've seen
everything.
You on my screen. You really have done everything.
Yeah. I do have things to. I know we talked off camera, off mic about like what are you going to plug. I have things to plug. I'm very modest. I don't know if you know this about me, Grant. We've known each other for over a decade.
That's true.
You know, I'm very modest.
That's true. I do. I remember that you gave a speech at my wedding, and I think what you did at the wedding was you made it all about you. You were like,
I was drunk. Leave me alone. I started drinking at like 2:00 in the afternoon.
It was great. It was a great speech. And I wish I had more memory of the details, but I just remember there goes old Dave with his humility. I appreciate that about him.
You know what Grant likes about, or I like about Grant? He likes me. That's what I said.
The most recent wedding I went to,
I'm old.
The best man gave the speech, and the groom got up to defend himself. And let me tell you, that was tense.
Oh no!
Defend himself against what? Crimes against humanity?
He's getting razzed by the best man. You know, he's ribbing him a little bit.
Getting razzed. Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah. He's giving him the business, and he didn't take it well.
He'd probably been drinking.
You gotta expect
too.
A little ribbing. Yeah, there was a lot of alcohol involved.
Yeah. Dave, you do everything. Do you play the flute?
Skin or regular?
Hey.
No, I do not play any instruments. I was banned from playing instruments because I lived in the town from Flashdance.
Oh,
so that's when people are like, "Yeah, I was in band." You're like, "Yes, I was in band. Banned from playing." Well, Dave, we're going to talk a lot about Sonic the Hedgehog this week. That's usually what we do on this show. And I know that you have some Sonic insights. So why don't let's start there. Tell us a little bit about yourself as it relates to Sonic. A movie just came out. I know that you've been playing Origins. Tell us a little bit more. Let us in.
My Sonic history it's long and deep.
We love that.
Yeah. So do the ladies.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
I think I do.
Deep. Okay. Anyway,
I'm a little lost.
Let me just explain. It's something like that.
Anyway. Baby. We got to do an Austin Powers podcast, I think.
We do. Yeah. So
put a bookmark on that.
Oh yeah. We'll put a pin in that for now. We'll keep it on the Sonic though. I did not get a Nintendo. My family was very thrifty for many years. My dad was in the Air Force, My mom didn't work. So video games were like, no, that's for your rich friends. Okay. You want to go play Duck Hunt, do it at your rich friend's house. Oh, that kid that's your friend, his dad's a dentist. So he probably has all the stuff you want to play. So I had a Game Boy and I had Super Mario Land.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Or Super Mario World or whatever. The one where it was like Egyptian themed.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like a Mario game because there was no like Goombas or anything. And that was the extent of my video gaming until one day my parents said, hey, guess what?
What?
We're getting your ass at Genesis. And I said,
what?
Yeah.
Oh, hopefully it comes with a case of Mountain Dew. Because it was like, that's the pairing that you want. You want a Sega Genesis, you want Mountain Dew, and you want to blow something up. Because that's what youth culture was like back then.
Yeah.
And Sega was the cool one.
Yeah.
By far. Like, Nintendo was kind of dorky. Like, it was.
Do you remember this year? This sounds to me, if I had to guess, this sounds like 1993.
Somewhere around there, right? So the first game that we got was Sonic 2.
Mm-hmm. Pack-in.
Yeah, whatever year that was that 2 came out, we got 2. So it was the redesigned Genesis, not the one with the knobs and stuff,
right?
But the one that was a little sleeker. And we got Sonic 2. And that game kicked my ass, but I couldn't get enough. The chemical plant zone terrified me.
Yeah.
And now that my son, who's 7, plays Sonic 2, the platforming on that, and like jumping on the platform and then to the next platform and not falling in the purple liquid is very nerve-wracking, even though that's the second level.
Yeah, but that was a common experience, I think.
Yeah.
So we never beat it. My brother and I would play together. One of us would be Tails and the other would be Sonic, right? And Tails is kind of useless in that game.
Yeah.
I guess in every game, Tails is kind of useless. In at least the side scrollers, Tails is, if you play 2-player, it's kind of like, what am I doing? I'm just trying to keep up with Sonic and I'm going to fall off the map half the time.
Yeah. Sometimes it can carry you.
Sometimes he can carry, but it doesn't really, it doesn't do a whole lot, typically.
Yeah. Not underwater.
No,
it's not going to help you.
Drowning. I think one of the reasons why I don't swim is because of Sonic 2 and the fear of drowning is from, the
purple liquid.
Worried you'll hear
to catch the bubbles. Yeah, boom, 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 boom. And then countdown clock is horrible. And then 3 came out, and I think there are 2, maybe 3 really seminal pop culture moments for me. One, Sonic 3 coming out.
Wow.
Batman Forever, probably, or Dark Knight. It's kind of interchangeable what era I'm nostalgic for the most. And Independence Day.
Ooh. Okay, so this is you must have received the Sega Genesis Model 2 and I'm going to say 1993 or even 1994.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Maybe it was Christmas 93 or maybe it was birthday 93 because the game comes out at the end of 92.
Yeah.
So it's possible that you get it for a Christmas 92 gift, but it's more likely that you get it as I know nothing. I'm totally just guessing, but I'm guessing that you got it birthday 93.
Somewhere around there.
Because then in 94, in the early parts of the year, February 2nd, when Sonic 3 comes out, maybe you're there first in line. Maybe you are getting it day one. And that's why it's a big seminal moment because then Batman Forever is a year later. And Independence Day, I think, is also what year?
That's 96, I want to say. 96. Because 95 was the year Batman Forever, Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd bombs. Batman Forever is the biggest movie of the year.
95 changed everything. 95 was a big year. It was a slow year for Sonic.
Not a great Sonic year. But loved Sonic 3. Just burned through that, right? That's the game that you beat. Because it's half a game. So the bosses and stuff, it's almost like kind of disappointing that you beat it so easily compared to Sonic 2, which is a grinder and you've got Metal Sonic and all of the stuff that just makes Sonic 2 so difficult to conquer at the end. Getting on the flying base and, there's the little kind of like rocket sleds that you use and stuff. Very hard and terrifying if you don't want to fall. The thought of falling off of one of these platforms is terrifying. And then 3 comes out and we finish it really quickly. But then through the grapevine, you hear, actually, guess what? it's only half a game. Here comes Sonic and Knuckles, and you get to lock it on, and you get to play as Knuckles in Sonic 2, which just extends the beautiful lifespan of 2, which I think is really the best of the games. I think even you bring in Sonic Adventure or whatever, 2 is the one for me.
I'm with you.
I think 3 and Knuckles, super fun, but the second half of that game isn't as exciting as the first half. I think because it was split up, like the Matrix sequels or something. It's like, this is not doesn't really, it's not great. The Mushroom Land is kind of boring compared to the other levels. The music isn't as good. The music in Sonic 3 is just fabulous. The Angel Island music, I just, I tap my feet to that thing. It's so good. So that was my origin story for Sonic, is just being a Genesis guy and not a Nintendo guy, and really being into Sonic's attitude.
Yeah, that attitude. And did you watch the shows or read the comics?
I remember the cartoon, the Jaleel White cartoon that was on, I think, ABC. Yeah, it didn't scratch the itch.
Didn't scratch your grounder?
No. We've talked before, Grant, about what I think Sonic, when Sonic is really the best is when it's funny.
Yeah. When
it's irreverent and it's got the 90s attitude, the kind of like snarkiness of the 90s.
And you've been watching the funny, most recent cartoon with your son, I think, Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Is legitimately good.
It's so good.
It's legitimately funny.
Robotnik.
It's so good.
He's like evil, but he's also kind of like a big child. And that's like, it's an interesting take on the character, instead of him being the character that you imagine from the games, where he's like a mustache twirling, cackling, mad scientist, almost like Dr. Octopus in a way, like kind of mentally unstable or something.
Yeah.
He's now just like kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
and Team Sonic almost feels bad for him.
Yeah.
In a way, which I think is cool. And in Sonic 3, the movie Sonic 3 kind of gets us to that, right? A little bit of like, oh, this guy's a little sad and he kind of embarrasses himself a lot and he just wants friends. So in Sonic Boom, what are they? Orbot and Cubot or whatever they're called. The robots are like his only real friends, and he's always shitting on them, but they are still, in the way that Agent Stone in the movie trilogy is kind of like the henchman who also just wants to be his best friend and really cares about him, which I think is cool.
One thing that's really consistent across all of the different Robotnik Eggman interpretations is that he's very abusive.
Yes.
Like he's not just cruel to animals, and he's not just hell-bent on world domination. He's also, on a personal, individual level, a real dick.
Yeah.
Like just constantly cutting you down. He's got no redeeming qualities, this Robotnik guy.
He's very Trumpian in that way.
Not until he even has a Trump line in Sonic 2, the movie. He's got a there's good people on both sides line.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the movie 3, now you kind of feel bad for him a little bit.
Yeah, which is, I think,
meanest.
Yeah, he's got the grandfather who's worse.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like you almost feel bad for him, and then he turns and sacrifices himself. Probably not permanently, right? I assume
probably
Jim
not.
Carrey's waiting for that check to come, and then he's going to be back for Sonic 4.
That's right. That check will be signed in gold ink. That's the only.
Who's the meanest Robotnik? It's Saturday morning cartoon, right? Like he seems legitimately
Sonic
evil.
Prime. I think he's kind of mean, right? Is it? That's more of a serious interpretation of the series too.
And then he splits into 5 parts.
Right, you only see him for like 2 minutes. You don't get a really good sense of what that Eggman is. I think the meanest one is probably Sad AM, because even although the Archie one can give him a run for its money. I guess he does technically murder a lot of people in Archie. In Sad AM, he just roboticizes them. But when you switch over to the right, this is going deep into the weeds. The whole egg rape thing, egg space grape. That's what it is. I know. Don't say it fast.
Again, if you only encounter this podcast through the transcript, we highly encourage you to listen and not just rely on whatever the AI auto translate transcript has provided for
a collection
egg
of Egg.
Second word now.
Second word.
Knuckles' favorite food, grape.
Grapes.
Okay. Sorry,
Yeah,
I was like
egg, grapes.
Okay,
and
okay.
They a bunch of echidnas get put into them, and presumably they're all dead. They disappear from the narrative. No one tries to rescue them. I guess they've been absorbed into nothingness. So that version of Robotnik, we know he killed people. The Sad AM Robotnik, though, he actually does take over the entire world. They're just
you could tell me literally anything about late Archie, and I would believe you.
Right, like, oh yeah, at some point, Sonic, he's just like, I'm not really a hedgehog. I'm a.
Oh, that was a weird issue. Yeah, where he takes the suit off and he's just like a naked human guy.
Right.
Weird.
Right. With just a giant acorn between his legs, and you're like, that's how we get away with the Comics Code Authority stamp.
Like Austin Powers style, but it was in vogue at the time. I mean, late 90s, everybody was doing the thing where you block out the genitals with like a coconut or something. Speaking of coconuts, let's take a look at the news. Dave id.
Oh, yeah.
And Dave Schilling will ride along with us in Shotgun and react to, because there's a few news items this week. Last week and the week before where we were crying that it hadn't been raining.
Mm-hmm.
And then lo and behold, here comes the rain. There's a little bit of news, a little trickle.
Yeah.
Here comes the rain again. I forget the next line. Yeah. Whoa. I guess the biggest news story, let's just say the biggest news story. Occasionally Sega releases Sonic games, and we don't really hear about it until Sega decides to tell us. But occasionally we find out due to a little thing called trademarking. So back in January 29th, Sega filed a trademark for Sonic Blitz. What is it?
Sonic Blitz.
That's all we know, is that it exists. Sonic Blitz. So people are like, whoa.
Sonic Blitz.
Yeah. Hey, is it a game? It could be a game. Does Blitz mean anything? Is it about sports? Is it just
I was thinking it's finally the Sonic American
Sonic
football game that we wanted. Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Sonic and Mario at the Olympics?
I personally am a fan.
Oh.
I like most of the games in the series. I think they are a totally fine party game. They are made by Sega, so people often hold them to the standard of a Nintendo party game, which tends to be better. But the Sega party games, they're different. They have a different philosophy to them. They're a little more arcadey. So with the Wii, it's very arcadey. But you have to imagine that you're essentially at a carnival, because when you're pumping your arms like an asshole with the Wiimote and the nunchuck to do a racing mini game or something, you have to forget that you're not at, like, you have to imagine that that's where you are, is you're in the boardwalk of you're doing it at a literal arcade.
Yeah.
But you're not, but you're at home. But that's the philosophy.
I've only ever played it at an arcade, and I, put my tokens in and I played for like 14 seconds. And then it was like, all right, that was the event. And
it doesn't pack the wallop of, let's say, NBA Jam or a Mortal Kombat, where like you feel like you got your money's worth. I have played Mario and Sonic at the Summer Olympics or whichever Olympics, at Dave and Buster's.
Yep.
And
I'm surprised that there are common arcade versions of it. I thought it was only on Wii.
That's where I played it.
Wow.
This is an arcade. So I played it at the Dave & Buster's in Playa Vista. And you actually get to play a few events. It's for the token that you put in, the credit that you apply with your phone. It's not like a complete disappointment in that you feel like you're not getting a complete money's worth, but it's not the same satisfying kind of button mashing kind of experience that you get with the real super hit arcade games. But the point of it, just like a lot of Dave & Buster's games, is that you're doing some sort of physical activity. You put a helmet on, or you're running, or you're swinging something.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's fun just to see the characters hang out with each other.
That's the main
seeing the Mario
thing.
Universe and the Sonic universe melding makes the game more fun than just the gameplay on its own.
100%. And that is what we want. We just want I don't want a game. I want just a sitcom. I guess I just need to get into fanfics.
Probably.
Because that's really what I want.
It's just the Sonic sitcom.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a story mode.
Yeah.
There's a story mode in the new Mario and Sonic in the 2020, in the only Olympics that happened in 2020 were Sega Olympics. The Mario and Sonic at the Sega at the Tokyo Olympics, and then there was another Olympics game for 2020, also from Sega. But the Mario and Sonic one had a story mode that is very bad and very tedious. And it's about them getting sucked into a video game machine, and then they're in the 60s. It's actually kind of a lot like Austin Powers 2, The Spy Who Shagged Me. And in some ways, it's also like Austin Powers and Goldmember.
Well,
in that it's just not very good of a story.
Wow.
Yeah, and Beyonce's there for some reason. And she never mentions it again. Just like her Nintendo DS commercials.
I don't want to spend too much time on the Mario versus Sonic of it all.
Oh, sure.
It's maybe one of the more frustrating conversations that video game people can have. Because there's nothing alike, right? The gameplay is very different. The worlds that they inhabit are different. The tone of the games is different. But by the nature of the video game industry in the early to mid 90s, you couldn't help but compare the two. Because Sega said, this is our Mario. He's cooler and he's more of the moment than this nerdy shit that Nintendo is doing.
Right.
It's slow. It's for kids, for babies, quote unquote. I'm not saying that myself, but like I think that was kind of the vibe of the Sega commercials at the time. Was we're Sega, we're crazy and we're like MTV and this is hip and it's fast. And so
you did that Sega cheer like very well.
That was great.
That was really on pitch.
That almost
in my
sounded
head.
Like. I mean, that sounded like the actual commercial.
Yeah, it's really like.
Were you the guy?
Yeah, I was 7.
You were 7, and you had the voice.
Yeah, my parents got me a voice agent.
Can you say anything else in that voice? Can you say Grant?
But yeah, I don't like to compare them, but you want to compare them. You have to if you're of a certain age and you remember the console wars and how serious it was.
Yeah.
But bringing them together almost doesn't work. But you kind of want that. And then I think I don't want to get too far off into the movies, but I think it is a good comparison. The path that the Illumination Mario movie took versus the path of the Paramount Sega Sonic. The Mario one says we're going to do full animation. It's going to be in the Mushroom Kingdom. We're going to go all out fantasy world. And that to me is like you're getting the game, but in the movies. You're just going straight from here's what this is to now it's here. It's in a new medium. Whereas Sonic, when I first heard, he's coming to the real world and he's going to have human friends, I was like, it's going to be Masters of the Universe all over again, and I'm going to be pissed off that they've ruined the mythology of Sonic. So I was deeply skeptical when I saw it in 4DX at the downtown Regal Theater. It was like one of the last movies I saw before COVID, and it's just like I'm being shook and they shoot water at you. And I left being like, I don't care that the mythology is not right. This was fantastic. I loved it. And now Sonic. How
much was the seat shaking, though?
How much did it cost?
No, I mean, like how much of your enjoyment was the movie versus how much of it was the
seat shaking ride? Almost ruined the movie for me.
Really?
Yeah, I just wanted to watch this sweet little romp with my friend Sonic. And instead I got this fucking ride. And so then now I really love those movies, and they're like the Fast and the Furious movies, but with Team Sonic.
Yes.
And you just want to keep seeing more of them and the world to get bigger. And now you've got Gun and like the whole mythology around the like agency and all of this stuff. And it's so far away from the mythology that now you're just like, okay, this is its own pocket universe, and that's okay. Whereas I think when they tried to do Mario and different in live action, it sucked. So it's interesting that Sonic worked taking it from fantasy video game world to human world. I'm curious what you guys think about that.
I think like the Mario thing, it's good. You can't deny that they set out to do a thing and they accomplished it. But it's so safe. Like you don't feel like this whole thing could tip over into a giant mess the way the Sonic movie is. And somehow it doesn't. Like it looked real bad in that first preview.
Yeah, the design was horrible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's gonna hang out with James Marsden, and he's gonna live in a town called Green Hills,
hanging out with Cyclops.
Yeah.
Sonic and the X-Men are hanging out. Yeah, what? But no, it winds up being good.
Yeah, because they took the relationship seriously between Donut Lord and Sonic, and so the core of that movie was Sonic the Hedgehog is a little boy. He's a preteen, a tween boy who just wants a family. And so even though you're not getting all of this, you're not getting the Eggman turning animals into robots thing, and you're not getting the whole fantasy of the various zones and worlds of the game, you like Sonic. And credit to Ben Schwartz's performance as Sonic. Like I don't hear anybody's voice other than him now. I mean, the guy who plays him in Sonic Boom is very good, and he was the voice of Sonic for however long. I'm sure you guys know his name.
Roger Craig Smith.
Thank you. Yeah, and my son has a toothbrush that like plays Sonic voice, and he does the voice of the toothbrush. He's very good.
He is. Yeah, he's.
And Jaleel White was very good, but I mean, Ben Schwartz
he's your guy.
Fantastic, and so you really care about him because he has those moments where he's very vulnerable. Like that scene where he's playing baseball by himself. Like it's heartbreaking. So it worked because they made it human. They made it emotional, even though it was a video game. Like it worked because they took it seriously.
I think you're onto something. I think there's definitely more heart to Sonic 1. And what do you think about the sequels? I mean, they kind of age him up in each sequel. So he is like a preteen in that first one, like you say, but then, I mean, by the third one, he's a little older, it seems.
Yeah, it's funny that they have this whole thing where like he wants to be a superhero in the second one, and like thwarting bank robberies and stuff, which I think is fun. That's a great set piece at the beginning of Sonic 2, and it's kind of like these movies have been plotted very similarly to the Star Trek J.J. Abrams movies, where it's this kid who doesn't have parents and he's alone. And then a man comes into his life who teaches him responsibility and gives him a family. And then that family is threatened and then he has to fight back. And then the second one, he really wants to be like a big hero and he wants to save everybody and he's trying to protect everyone. And he sees the limits of his power. He can't do it all by himself. He needs those other people. And then the third one is about leadership, right? And Sonic becoming truly a leader of the team, right? Team Sonic exists because Sonic is able to be the leader of that group. So they're very, you can see how Hollywood kind of cranks these things out. And it's like, what if it was just like this, and this? And you see the similarities and the kind of patterns of storytelling.
These movies are shaping the 2020s.
Yeah.
This is the decade of the Sonic movies. So far, the first half of it has been. And we really need those VH1 shows to come back. And you all need to be on it. So you can talk as talking heads about the Sonic movies and the Mario movies and pontificate about all of that.
The only difference is the show would not be called I Love the 2020s. It would be called I Survived the 2020s.
Yeah.
I tolerated the 2020s.
I lived to tell the tale of...
I hid from the 2020s.
Right. And we'll continue to hide in the 2030s and the 2040s.
The bunker
fine.
just goes deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
Whoa, man.
Bunker
That's
TV.
like that one anime that's depressing.
Nice.
I forget what it's called.
What the humans are doing in the Archie series, they're somehow Station Square is underground.
Right.
Well,
they're not anything about Archie.
Right. Archie is a post-apocalyptic Earth because the alien Zordas, the alien race called the Zordas showed up, and humans accidentally, I mean they wait, what do you call it when you give like they dissected
they vivisected.
They vivisected the ambassador. They went, "Oh, you're all bad." Dropped a gene bomb, killed all the humans except the ones hiding inside hollowed out mountains, and then everyone re-evolved, and that's why animals can talk, and that's why the surviving humans called Overlanders have they have 3 fingers and a thumb instead of 4 fingers and a thumb, and it's not because animation has 3 fingers and the comic book artists were trying to copy that, except when they were told not to. It all makes sense. Where were we talking about again?
I'm shocked I haven't read this.
It's probably for the better that you haven't.
Yeah, I know. These are
yeah. Dave, could you help us? Bo asked me a good question this week, and I think you're the perfect person to answer it, which is, can you help us, using a Sonic analogy, understand the Luka trade from the Mavericks to the Lakers?
Okay, let's say you've got Shadow. And Shadow is, super powerful and stuff. But maybe he's a little lazy. Maybe he's just thinking about his child friend who was murdered. Mm-hmm. And he can't get himself off the couch. And you're like, Shadow, we really need you to get in there and stop Robotnik from turning all these rabbits into machines. I'm just depressed about my little friend getting blown up. And so you're like, well, all right, but we really need somebody to get in there in Team Sonic and help out. What should we do? How should we what if instead of Shadow, who we can't motivate, even though there's stuff going on, we got Vector. We'll get Vector the crocodile DJ. To get in there. At least he's excited to be there. At least he's stoked. And that's what I think. I think Luka Doncic is like Shadow, and Anthony Davis is kind of like Vector.
That is almost exactly the analogy that I used when Bo asked me for an explanation.
You don't like Vector?
I took my best. I said Charmy instead of Vector because I was trying to think of a similar, what is a lopsided trade? Shadow for Charmy.
Considering how long this franchise is poised to go, the grosses keep going up. Mm-hmm. More and more characters are introduced, similar to the Fast and Furious, where it's like, oh yeah, we added John Cena last movie, but guess what? Jason Momoa is in this one, and every movie, the bad guy then becomes part of the team. So they're just going to keep doing this, right? We're getting Amy in Sonic 4. We're getting Metal Sonic in Sonic 4. Do we get Vector at any point? Do they feel like, okay, finally, let's just suck it up and let's bring Vector in?
I think Sonic 8, the Vector's a
Sonic 8.
Sonic 8, right. Right, because I guess who is the next big, after Amy and Metal, who do you bring in that excites people? Maybe
that's
Silver, maybe Blaze?
No, we're done.
That point, that's I think it's a bit more inside baseball. Hardcore fans will get excited.
It's Rouge, though.
Oh, right, of course. It's got to be Rouge.
People would be excited about Rouge.
That's fair.
Well, some people would be excited for Rouge for many reasons. To go back to whatever we avoided earlier on in this program. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chaotix show up. If Knuckles gets a season 2, a season 3,
that's the way
they're his friends, right? It could be Knuckles needs to planet hop, and he runs into the Chaotix, and Vector's gonna eat him, but he doesn't. I don't know.
Chaotix could be like a Miami Vice sort of situation,
right? We find out they've been in Miami since the 80s. They haven't aged,
selling cocaine,
probably.
And Sonic and Tails got to bust them. I mean, I think if I were in charge of the franchise, and I'm not. There are very successful people who get that job. If I were, obviously, based on the end of 3 and where they've set it up and what they've established Sonic's motivation is to find Long Claw and reunite with his, the cosmic world that he came from. Now you're going just from universe to universe, zone to zone, planet to planet, and whatever. And now it's just we're not going back to Green Hills. We're going to up the budget. We're going to have more creatures. We're going to meet other characters. Maybe Robotnik, a alternate universe Robotnik or something shows up, and it's a different Jim Carrey, whatever it is. but I don't think you can have another movie where they're just hanging around Wyoming or Montana or whatever it is, and James Marsden is there. I think Marsden's got to go. I think it's over. It's over. He was in the movie so little and accomplished so little in that role. I can't imagine they need to bring him and Tika Sumpter back. I think it's over.
I think they should come back, but I do think maybe there is a way to, segue toward what you're saying, where it is the Sonic universe into the Critter verse. And one thing that strikes me is that Tom and Maddie are a married couple, and they're saying that they've described Knuckles as a kid of theirs, as one of their children.
A very deep voice, middle-aged black man.
Yeah,
but sure, okay.
She says it's her kid. But so if they have a baby, if perhaps Tom and Maddie have a human child, maybe they will then suggest to Team Sonic to move out.
It's kind of heartbreaking.
Right. It's like you got to start paying rent if you want to
get a job, asshole.
Or Sonic is, getting to the age where he wants a little more space to have a room of his own so that Amy Rose can come over.
I don't know.
He still has the cave. He could go back to the cave.
Oh, right.
No, it's that Sonic's presence
love
threatens
shack is what
the family, and he realizes he has to move on to protect them.
There you go. Yeah. He's attracting too much danger. That old bit.
Yeah.
Something's got to change. I think the movies have been great because they've heightened as they've gone, and the story has been more and more interesting. But you could see them straining to cut back to Tom and Maddie and the dog, and it's like this is getting tedious.
I mean, eventually,
I don't think I mentioned. Oh, God.
I was going to say, eventually, if they keep making these forever, James Marsden will grow old and die. So at that point, that'll be an easy out.
Well, you can always get Ben Schwartz to donate his voice to AI, and then you just have an AI Sonic forever.
Oh my God! Well, I hope they keep him. I don't know. I'm getting kind of attached to Tom and Maddie.
I like them, but it's become almost onerous to the writers and the director to have to shoehorn them into this story that becomes more and more science fiction-y.
Yeah, and at the beginning of 3, it's exactly like the beginning of 2, where it's like he gives them a lesson that later on comes back, and so it does sort of seem like they've reached their limit of where they can go with the Sonic storytelling. But I don't know. At the same time, I don't know.
It's like Jordana Brewster in Fast and Furious movies. Dom's sister should be important, right? But she's never important. And they're always like, oh, remember she's here? Yeah, hey, guys, enjoy your mission. Anyway, I'm going to go back and make sandwiches at the shop.
Yeah.
Like, you have to let some of that go.
Yeah.
And I think Fast and Furious has been really, really bad at cutting characters. There comes a point when you can't get all of them a paycheck, so at what point do you winnow it down to the core and you make a tight story? I think that's the case with Sonic. Is like at some point it's about Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails and Team Sonic.
The Sonic movie should end with a big barbecue, though.
Absolutely. And Sonic cracks a Corona.
Right. Is a Corona
just a good idea.
He's finally 21. He can drink.
What would Sonic drink?
Dave and Bo for the dads, the daddy-os. Well, what do you think your kids would think if would they like Tom and Maddie to be removed, or are they do they kind of like them being around? What's the kid perspective?
That's a tough question. I think my son likes that the dog's name is Ozzy too, and that Maddie is his mom's name. And I'm sorry that Tom is not Dave. If Marsden was Dave, it would be kind of creepy. But yeah, he likes it, but he's really looking forward to the fights. Oh, Shadow's in this one. Sonic and Shadow are going to fight. And who's going to win? That was what really got him in the theater. And he likes all of them. But this is the first one he's seen in a theater, and he was just jazzed from the minute this one's going to have Shadow in it, because we watched 2 at home on Paramount Plus, and he went, and he saw it twice. So once he saw it in like a camp like a holiday camp or something. They took all the kids to see Sonic just to shut them up, And he was like, Mom, Dad, I want to see it again, but you guys have to come with me. And so during the fires and like this kind of bleak time in LA, we're like, let's get out of the house. Let's go see Sonic and maybe that'll cheer everybody up. And so a couple of his friends came and their parents and stuff. And we tried to forget our troubles. And as the credits started rolling, he's like, we can't leave yet. There's a surprise. And even though he knew what was going to happen, he's like, there's Amy and that's Metal Sonic, Dad. They're going to be in the next movie. So I don't think he gives a damn about the family or like the drama. When Adam Pally shows up, he's just like, why? So I think the more that they embrace the fantasy aspect of the franchise and really focus on the classic Sonic characters, the more the kids will get excited.
I'll have to ask my son directly. He is also 7, and he and I really enjoyed the Knuckles show, so I think maybe we're a little more attached to the human characters. But
my son refuses to watch Knuckles. He's like, I'm not going to watch that. How many episodes is it? No. I'm going to watch Is It Cake instead, Dad.
The new Frasier is where you're at on Paramount Plus.
It's funny when he tries to drink a beer.
He must be heartbroken that it was canceled then, right?
No, yeah, he's really devastated. He's been crying for days on end.
Hoping Netflix will pick it up.
That was my family, my TV family.
Okay, well, now is the time in the show where we pivot over to the Sega corner of things. We're going to look at the Rings of Saturn and then hear from our friend Barry at Sega Bits. Bo, what do you got for... you've been in a 3DO space, but now you're back into Sega.
So I teased this on our podcast earlier. 3DO, nobody cares about. Okay, I'll keep beating that drum eventually. But okay, Dreamcast, I got the Power Stones, both of them.
Now we're talking.
There's hidden menus in these games. If you flip the right bits, you can access these menus, and you can change the animations, and you can unlock the unlockables. We're seeing Power Stone 2 right now. It's a good time. People like the Power Stones. I like the Power Stones. The Power Stones are coming back. Capcom is reissuing the Power Stones.
But not the Dreamcast versions, sort of tragically.
Yeah, it's just the arcade ones. Although the arcade Power Stone 2 is really a Dreamcast Power Stone 2. I guess you don't get like the item mixing in the arcade.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The single player campaign, I guess you missed out.
Yeah, but okay, so...
Can I ask a foolish question really quickly?
Go for it.
Okay.
No, yes.
Dreamcast.
Yes or no?
Yes or no? Dreamcast is the white whale for me. I didn't have a Dreamcast. I pivoted to PlayStation.
Yeah.
Not to hate on Sega. I love Sega. I'm a Sega fanboy. But I never got a Dreamcast. And I have never really sat down to play Sonic Adventure. Will there ever, and no one has to answer this, will there ever be a re-release of those games on Switch or something? And the second question is,
really should.
When can we get the equivalent of all of these kind of like Genesis kind of dupes that they release in Target? You can get them for $50. I want to be able to buy a Dreamcast for $50. That's just kind of a pared down version of this technology.
This is the dream. I want the Saturn Mini. We've talked about that on the show. We want
Saturn,
a Dreamcast Mini.
I didn't have a Saturn either. like millions of people in America. Right. I did not have a Saturn.
Right, no one had a Saturn.
People.
No, you're gonna love this the 3DX, and that's gonna be just enough for you, Dave. That's what my parents said. The 3DX is $20 in the bin. Get that, and that was not the same.
Did you get Knuckles Chaotix?
No, I got Doom. That was the first game I bought.
That sucks.
I was like, "Ooh, this looks badass." I've heard about Doom, and then I brought it home, and my mom was like,
"32X version of Doom, isn't it really bad?
Yeah,
or is it good?
It's fine. It's Doom. It's just not as good as PC Doom." And my mom saw it, and she said, "Is that a pentagram I see in that game?" I was like, No. It's the Star of David, Mom. This is a Jewish game. She's like, No. We're sending that back, so we had to send it back.
You have to send it on.
And I got Star Wars Arcade.
Okay, right.
Which was great because it were
that is good.
There were no pentagrams in that. It reminded me of the classic Star Wars arcade game they had at Chuck E. Cheese. And then we got Tough Man Contest.
Wow.
There was a Butterbean
Tough
Tough Man Contest game for a 32X.
The 32. That's right. But
I'm so hot about that. My mom hears about it all the time. You got me what? That and a Virtual Boy was $40.
wow.
Anyway, I'm sorry I derailed the segment. I just wanted to ask about
a Virtual Boy, that's a collector's item now.
Still have it.
Oh,
It finally stopped
nice.
working like 2 years ago.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
How can you
that
tell?
was an investment. If you had sold it 3 years ago.
Whenever I want to get a headache, I either just like don't breathe for 30 seconds or I play Virtual Boy.
You play a Virtual Boy. Well, what did you have on Virtual Boy?
Thank you for asking. I had Mario Tennis.
Okay.
I had Vertical Force.
That's a good one.
Uh-huh.
And there was one other game. It was a bowling, Nestor's Funky Bowling.
You
You guys remember Nestor, right? He was the NES magazine mascot.
Right. He got a game.
He got a bowling game.
Aren't there like a weird number of bowling games for the Virtual Boy?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there are. Like way more than there should be for how small that library
Well,
is.
because it's just like the lane kind of goes off into infinity and it feels 3D. And tennis, it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of the court is sort of you know.
That's the only one I ever played.
Yeah, it's all depth perception stuff, right? Vertical
Right.
Force was up and down. You go up, you go down, you go forward, you go backward. So that's all the machine could do is go up, go down, go forward, go backward.
Yeah. Right.
3D.
Oh man.
I want to pay off these Austin Powers references we've been making
Okay.
tangentially.
Yeah,
Okay,
baby.
so we're recording this
I'll behave.
a few days before the Super
Boy
Bowl,
Color.
the NFL championship.
That's true.
And I don't really follow sports. I have to ask Grant to explain basketball trades to me. But I can look at sports video games, and in particular the Visual Concepts 2K series. And so in honor of this football thing going on over the weekend, I took a look at NFL 2K1 and NFL 2K2.
Oh,
And,
hey,
you know
old
what?
favorites of mine.
Yeah, you know what's in those games? Some cheat codes that nobody has known about since 2K1 or 2K2.
Wow.
Put some button codes in there and then type in some stuff, and you can make the players really thin. You can make them really fat. You can make them really tiny. And the code for that one is Mini Me. So that was a real fresh reference to Austin Powers
And
back
fat
in
bastard.
2K1.
That's for when you get
Yeah.
fat.
So yeah, there you go. This weekend on the Rings
Wow.
of Saturn, you'll be able to cheat
Wow.
at some outdated football games.
Pretty sick.
That's right. For
Yeah.
the big game, because we're not legally
For the
allowed to
big
say
game,
Super
we're not-
Bowl.
yeah.
So-
Wait.
I did love the 2K franchise.
Mhm.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
2K5 NFL, one of the great football games. I still have it for PlayStation. It's that good of a football game. Oh my God, what happened, Grant?
Just knocked out. He was going to show off his complete
He wants to find
NFL
this NFL
2K collection.
Yeah,
And-
I was trying to grab the NFL 2K1 and NFL 2K2 discs, but instead the house of cards came crumbling down.
It's okay.
Oh,
This is not a
God.
video podcast, is it?
No, it sure is not.
Okay, because I was making a lot of dumb faces earlier.
right.
You're
No,
making
we
great
don't.
faces.
We can't be bothered because then we'd have to like do hair and makeup, proper lighting. You
My
know.
forehead is very shiny, so I need to dab it up.
Right. Oh man. Okay. So we're talking about things. I'm going to go on a slight tangent. Just thinking about Austin Powers. Did you know that there was supposed to be an animated Austin Powers television show?
Yes, I did.
That
Yes.
tracks.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew this as well because of Wizard Magazine. Thank you, David.
Oh wow! I didn't know it was in Wizard. Yeah, but apparently it was the plug was pulled because Mike Myers. I was like, what is it? What is his man? What is his name? He's Austin Power Man.
Michael Myers. Yeah,
Michael Myers, famous villain of the Halloween films. He was, I guess it's because of Goldmember. He's like, I can't be bothered to do a cartoon show. I can't do a Saturday morning show. I got to make a movie and make a lot of money and be in it with Beyonce. And so
Yeah.
the whole thing was just pulled out from under everyone. So we'll never get to see animated Mini-Me.
There was also the video games, the canceled Dreamcast racing game,
yes,
Mojo Rally.
I have seen screenshots from that, and it looks horrible.
It looks horrible, and it would have been because lately I've been replaying the Batman Forever Sega Genesis game.
Also,
I don't know why. Bad. But I have some affection for it because it came out that year that we talked about earlier. That was just the right
1995. Yeah.
95, yeah. 9 years old. And Batman Forever was the most important thing in my third grade life. We had a thing where we would write to the teachers, had like, they would have us write to like college kids to be pen pals. And then my letter was like, did you see Batman Forever? It's a great movie. And they wrote back, I didn't see Batman Forever yet, but thanks for the recommendation. I thought, okay, I really changed that guy's life.
I feel like no one would get away with that now. You want an adult to write to a child? About what? We're gonna have to screen those. The Batman Forever game is terrible. There was also I have this. It was for PlayStation, so I can still play it on my PS2. Austin Powers Pinball.
Oh,
dreadful game.
You love pinball.
I do, but it's video game pinball sucks.
Yeah,
it's not the same. You don't hear the bing 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 bing. It's not good,
right.
And it doesn't even make enough Austin Powers noises. It doesn't have the like quotes or like it's very poor. But they were skinning just simple pinball games with IP all the time, and they just dump this detritus into the world because it was easy to print these and make them.
Sometimes Sega did them. In fact, Sega did a Batman Forever Batman Forever pinball machine. Sega did one. Let me ask you this though: when people describe Sonic as a pinball platformer, as though they're describing the gameplay style of Sonic 2 or Sonic 3 or Sonic and Knuckles or Sonic the Hedgehog, the original game, or Sonic Mania. How do you, we talked about Sonic Mania at one point. You like Sonic Mania. Anyway, how do you think that as a pinball aficionado, does that ring true or false?
Well, I mean, it's almost, the comparison is almost too on the nose. When you play 2 and 3, there are literal pinball mechanics, right? In the casino zone, into the carnival zone in 3. He's literally becoming a pinball, right?
Yeah.
And then you got Sonic Spinball 2, which is an almost unplayable video game in my opinion.
Wow.
So I'm sure there are some people who love that game, but it's just so deeply complicated, and you don't know like what am I supposed to be doing here, and where's this level, and then you go down here. Like
it's hard.
I hate that game. A lot of the kind of like Sonic sub-genre games, I feel like rob us of the pleasure of it. I think it's true of the Mario games too. When you really get down to it, you want Mario to either be a side scroller or the open world kind of Mario Odyssey or Mario what is it, Super Mario 64 games, right? When they get off into like Dr. Mario or Mario and Nabbits or whatever, like horse shit that they do, you're just like, this is not Mario, this sucks. And so I think Sonic Spinball, it was too obvious. Oh, he spins and he jumps in the air like a pinball, but you're missing the important elements of Sonic, which is also sometimes you're solving puzzles. Also, sometimes you've got the boss battles and you've got the spinning around and so many like physical things. Like there's nothing better than speed running the first level of every Sonic game and blowing up stuff and jumping on things, and you don't get that with the Sonic Spinball game. And to kind of reduce it to, well, it's like pinball, is just missing the point of why Sonic is great.
Yeah. I got to jump in front of the stray bullet that you sent to Dr. Mario. I don't want to play that. Fever.
I don't need that.
Don't think of it as Mario.
Real Mario game.
Think of it as a puzzle game.
Well, he's a different guy. The Smash Brothers roster has concluded that Dr. Mario is a different guy from Mario.
Separate guys, yeah, definitely. Gotta be.
Have I told
Mario took a different path and decided not to be a plumber and went to medical school for 7 years?
Yes, sliding doors.
The Mario multiverse.
Yep.
He takes his multivitamin.
I was at a party once where there was some guy who they introduced him as like, oh, he's a real Dr. Mario. head. And I said, for some reason, like, oh, I can beat him. I'm the best at Dr. Mario. And they're like, all right, let's go. And I lost that game so badly.
He was.
It's good to be humbled every once in a while.
Right. If you had played the Dr. Mario and Tetris, is that what it was on the Super Nintendo? Maybe you could have squeaked it out with the Tetris rounds.
I'm better at Puyo Puyo. Through all that mean bean practice.
Mean bean. That's gross. I know what you're saying, but it just sounds gross out of context.
I want some nice beans.
I'm looking for that mean bean, baby.
That's what I say when I go to the coffee shop.
You know, I'm trying to work that mean bean right now. Anyway,
right.
Sorry. It's kind of gross. So
they called it that because the plot was you're trying to save them from becoming mean, but they're not even. They
I
were
don't really get
reaching.
upset about false advertising, except for Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, because Dr. Robotnik is very present on the cover and then not at all throughout the game.
Right,
he's just.
I mean,
it's his machine. It's not about him. It's about his machine.
How would I ever know?
Right, that would require you to beat the game, which I will also say I never did. I got pretty. What? I've never beaten Mean Bean Machine. It is hard. I've gotten pretty deep. What? How many levels are there? Like 12 or 13? 12, yeah.
13, I think, with Robotnik.
Right. So I think I got to like 8 or 9, but then after that, I'm like, it's too much. I can't handle it anymore.
There are a couple of things I like about Mean Bean Machine. It's not the gameplay. One, the cover. The way that
cover.
Robotnik is designed with the pointy head and the red eyes, and he's jowly. He's never been more jowly than on the cover of Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Right. He's animation's sexiest fat man, according to the designer Milton Knight, who created that version of Robotnik.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. And then I love the start screen. It's very like Memphis design, 90s kind of like wacky. It's very appealing to me. I like the start screen on that game.
I think you're missing out on Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Yeah, like each of the AI characters has like a play style, and you got to think about how you play against them.
Maybe I'll throw it on sometime soon. Is it on any of the Switch compilations or anything?
It is on the Switch. It's on the Switch Online Genesis app. And
also you like the emulator, right? It takes up too much space on my hard drive. I don't have time for that. I had to get rid of it so that we could get Smash Bros. And so that we could get, what was the game we just got? There's something. Oh, we got something called, maybe you guys have heard of it, Boomerang Fu, which is like little fast food fight each other with boomerangs, and my son loves that. So there's just no space on the hard drive.
It's like a fingernail amount of space relative to anything, but it's fine.
We have Smash Bros takes up a ton of space.
It takes up a ton of space.
We got Among Us.
App takes up not very much space.
You could get additional space, right? Little external.
I need to get an external
SD card.
Yeah,
but should I just wait for the new Switch?
Yeah, but you're gonna need a micro SD card either way.
Right. Space is space.
Bo, I feel like I've been begging you for 7 years to get a Switch. And you've been like, no, I'm going to wait till the Switch 2. But now the Switch 2, I guess we don't know yet. How can I even really ask you when we don't know? We have to wait until April 2nd to even get any information about why you would want a Switch 2 aside from just a more powerful Switch 2 that is backwards compatible. I mean, that is alone a pretty compelling case.
I don't know if I'm going to go Switch 2. Because as my son gets older, there's more pressure to go full on PlayStation, full on Xbox.
Yeah. Just go all the way with the game.
Let's get the big because he really wants the WWE 2K25 game.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be on Switch. Maybe it's on Switch 2. Unlikely. I don't know. But
it'll be on Switch 2.
Really? Because the last couple were not on Switch. Right. I don't even think any of the WWE 2K games have been on Switch.
Really? That is frustrating.
It might be just
2K
like
games have been, but like there's no Maddens on Switch, which is really frustrating. That was like when the Switch first was debuting. That was one of like the things that I was like looking forward to. Is like, oh, I'll be able to play franchise mode. That stupid thing that I like to do in Madden, track the stats I'll do it in bed or whatever. Take it to the rooftop house party.
Go to the shack.
To the bathtub.
Yeah.
The bathtub, right? Or just on the pot. You know.
Well,
does Visual Concepts still do the 2K games?
They do not. They stopped doing them in somewhere along the line. They were sold off.
Well, didn't Madden took over? Like they're the exclusive NFL. So you can't
but
have
I thought you meant
another...
for NBA 2K. Like any traces of the Sega DNA in the 2K series has long been.
Yeah. Well, I knew Sega sold off.
Yeah.
Visual Concepts.
But even
back. But
yeah.
But also, I learned recently NHL 2K, not Visual Concepts.
Treyarch.
It's Treyarch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
the sports gaming world is very complicated because you've got the EA games and they kind of have a lock on the soccer licenses. They have a lock on the NFL license now. But if
somehow they all have bad menus though.
They do. They used to have great menus. The soundtracks to the old Madden games, the old FIFA games were such a big part of it. And so you kind of, when I was in college, you just kind of put on the menu for one of these games and just listen to that music because you didn't have
on date night.
Date night. Let's put on the FIFA 05 soundtrack and we'll have a great time. And it's not the same. Not the same. The WWE 2K games have gotten a lot better. There was a period where they were a couple of years in the 2020s where they were just like horrible. But 2K 2024 was really great and 25 looks good. So yeah, I don't know. Sports games are strange. Maybe Sonic Blitz will be a football related game where you can tackle people and give Knuckles a concussion or something.
All right. Maybe they're bringing back NFL Blitz with the Sonic license.
I would love that. That would be fun.
That'd be great.
But then you gotta get Mario versus Sonic Blitz.
Yeah.
Well, that would probably be the version on the Switch, and the arcade version is just Sonic Blitz because you can't license out Mario. It's too much effort. It's like
I always love this part in the fantasizing where we get to the part where, they really wouldn't license that.
Who would win?
Realistically.
Eggman or Bowser? Who would win in a fight? This is the conversation that I have with my son in the car.
So it would be like the lawyers who would get they would win because IP, they're not allowed to interact in that specific way where one character shown as being inferior to the other character.
They're both quite strong, yeah.
Right, they both have to be on screen for the same amount of time.
There was a notable
it's like Vin
YouTube
Diesel
person.
and The Rock.
What were we talking about? Were we ever talking about anything? David, thank you so much for being here, Dave. Do you have anything to plug?
Yeah. Actually, I do. Now that I had a moment of peace to think about it, I have been in the last couple seasons of a show on Shudder called Horror's Greatest, which is about some of the most fantastic subgenres in horror. I'm in a Stephen King episode. I'm in an episode about space horror. It's on Shudder. If you have Shudder, you can go watch that. I'm also in another documentary similar to this called Behind the Monsters. Just hear me talking more about horror movies and stuff. And what else? There's something else. Maybe that's it. That's enough. Subscribe to Shudder. If you're a Sonic fan, you probably also like movies, and you probably also like horror movies. So subscribe to Shudder. It's good for you.
What is the very first thing you ever plugged in, like, as
on a podcast ever?
Yeah, like the first time you were like, "This is the first thing I'm going to plug," and I've reached that point in my career where I'm plugging things.
Oh, okay. Well, I had a YouTube movie review show called CinemaCope, which I plugged a lot on podcasts and things. It was on this channel called Super Deluxe, which you might remember if you're an old like me. It was kind of like a hipster YouTube channel thing that Warner Brothers, Time Warner owned.
Oh.
And it went defunct, probably not because of me, but certainly not because of me. And then
just blame Warner Brothers.
I mean, it's easy to these days.
Yeah.
They're responsible for most things that are bad in the world. Just kidding. Just kidding. I love you. Thank you, Daddy Zaslav. And then when I was really excited, and I did a whole like media tour around this, and I had a publicist and stuff. It was cool. I did a podcast with my friend Jonah Ray called Galaxy Brains, which was on Polygon. I'm sure because you guys are video game people, you know of Polygon, the website.com.
Mm-hmm.
It lasted for 6 months and we got canceled, but I had to go on all these podcasts and, they were booking me on things. And so I was constantly plugging it and doing ad reads and all that annoying stuff. But the money was good. So that was nice.
Oh, a podcast that pays you. Now that's something.
I know. I didn't even have to be successful and they paid me every month.
Wow. That's the dream right there.
Yeah, and then the dream turns into a nightmare when you realize they can't pay you if it's not successful forever.
Oh, maybe they just advertise it in the wrong places.
Or maybe it was my fault because I have an annoying voice. I don't know. Just don't ask my mom the answer to that question.
Oh,
that's a joke. I'm just kidding. My mom loves.
I'll blame it on David Zaslav again.
Just kidding.
Right.
I saw him at a party once, by the way.
Oh, really?
I was at the Joker 2 premiere.
Oh,
and he was there, and he cut me in line for a drink.
What?
Damn.
I will never forget that.
You should write about this.
Right,
on
you should have been
social
like, "Hey, you cut in front of me." Well, if you give me a copy of Coyote versus Acme,
there are no copies. It's gone. That was the first thing that's what Doge is doing, deleting copies of movies that Warner Brothers has cut for a tax write-off. We have to go in there and get rid of it. No, there's a movie idea for you.
Yeah,
Anyway, I'm done.
It'll
talking.
be like the Monuments Men,
or National Treasure.
Ooh,
What if Nicolas Cage and a band of wacky folks goes on to find the final remaining copy of Coyote versus Acme? What do you think? We have to find. Thank you. I'm glad. Okay.
I think that's going to be a movie.
Zaslav, are you listening?
All right, it's behind the sofa. That's where it is.
Have you looked under the cushions yet?
Oh.
Yeah, just a hard drive under the kitchen, the cushions. Anyway, this was a lovely time. I'm going to wrap it up for you, Grant. This is great.
Well, okay.
I had a
this
wonderful
has been
time.
great. And David's going to do it. Here we go.
That's right. Because, it is the end of a podcast. And what happens at the end of every podcast? Well, you got to say a bunch of things that if you've heard every episode, you know what's coming. But if you're brand new, but you've listened to other podcasts, you kind of know what's coming. But if this was your very first podcast ever, well then, the ending is going to shock and surprise you. And guess what? That's because right now you have reached the end of another episode of Sonic Weekly. Whoa! Where we talk about Sonic and other things, and like Austin Powers. And if you enjoyed it, if you're like, wow, maybe this podcast thing, there's something to it, and I guess it's too late for you to subscribe to Polygon's own Galaxy.
It's still out there. You can listen to it. It'd be great if it became a huge success after the fact. So go and listen to it. Just search Galaxy Brains with Dave Schilling and Jonah Ray, and you'll find it. And there's amazing episodes out there. Enjoy.
Whoa, that's right. You can do what he said. Or you can also do that for this podcast here, which is subscribe using your podcatcher of choice. What's a podcatcher? Why, that's like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Or if you're one of the Android faithful, you got to download Podcast Addict. It's the only way to listen to podcasts on the go if it's not an iPhone. Yeah, and you can give a rating. You can leave a review. You can do all the things to let other people know I enjoyed this, and you will too. Maybe. Hey, but if you reject all podcatchers out there, we're also over on YouTube. We're at Sonic-Weekly, where you can like, comment, and subscribe, like I said. Hey, but it's not just our voices. There's also video game footage recorded by a friend of the show, Jack of Old Games. Shout out to Jack for moving those thumbs all day, every day. And if you want to reach out to us, if you want to feel like you're part of the family, you can speak to us. We have an email address. It's SonicWeeklyPodcast@gmail.com. Drop us a line. We have a mailbag segment every once in a while. Ask us questions, suggest topics. Let us know what we should do in these, I guess, Sonic downtimes. because who knows when Sonic Blitz is going to be in arcades or wherever it's coming. It's something. Yeah, and the only way to get into our Discord server is by emailing and asking for the link where you can talk to like-minded Sonic the Hedgehog fans about many things, including, guess what, Sonic the Hedgehog. But we also give that invite link if you're able to support the show monetarily. We're over on Ko-fi. That's right, we're just Sonic Weekly over there. You can throw in something in the tip jar or become, for $5 a month, one of our executive producers. Yeah, there are executive producers. You can become one of those for $5 a month, and you will get some physical goodies from Wife of the Grant, Ashlyn. Whoa! Stick some stickers right on your face and have them when you get your license renewed. That's what you want on your face. They'll let you do it now. It's fine. I gotta thank Smoovies for the edit. Thank you, Smoovies. Keeping those ears cleaned and those fingers tapped.
You don't have to finish that.
Yeah.
This goes on for a long time, didn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, sometimes I get lost in the...
All right, we'll lead you back. Come on back, baby.
All right. Thank once again, Dave Schilling, for being on the program.
No problemo.
Got to thank the listeners. Thank you for being here. And, as always, I need to thank Bo, and I need to thank Grant, because if I don't, I'm leaving them out.
They're going to be mad.
It'd be strange if I thanked everyone except the two other people that I am on this journey about Sonic week to week with. Whoa.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Bo. Thank you, listener. Bye-bye.
Thank you.